Hi, and welcome to my first speed build in Paralives. I am going to be building a two-story house with 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. And you'll notice throughout probably most of the video that there are some bugs or some quirky things going on, and that was because I built most of this before they released a few updates, and then with the updates a lot of that stuff got easier. So you'll see here, like, I can't move the wall, I can't change the fence, and I believe these were bug related and then were fixed. So, and then you can see like the floors are disappearing, the walls are disappearing, and so I just started all over again, trying to build things in an order that wouldn't cause that stuff to happen. So just going in through here, I think, yeah, it was like 3 times that I had to do that. So trying again, learning the order of stuff, like first make the big box, then make the foundation, then cut out the rooms that I want to give fencing to, like the front and back porches. And as I'm starting this house, my thought process was to just get everything laid out and then worry about the color palette later. I knew what colors I wanted to do, but I just didn't want to worry about that yet. I just wanted to get everything laid out and really learn how the different tools work and how the different items function. Definitely love the custom windows that you can drag them into any shape or size, and the window panes will kind of go with it. And so I'm trying to make some interesting front windows. Oh, see, I can't grab that window. Like, I don't know what was going on, but that wasn't working. So I really like that the windows are fully customizable. You can have any shape, you can layer them, stack them. That was like a really neat feature that they have. The stairs were pretty easy to use. I think they did disappear at times, especially the inside staircase. The outside ones, like, they seemed fine. You can see like the columns are just not going where I want them to. That might be because I was using a grid, and I think you have to hit the option key to get, when those things happen, to like get those columns in the right corner there. So that is me not realizing that I probably need to hit the option key for that. I think it's the option key. Maybe it's the control key. Anyway, and now I'm adding some trim. There wasn't like actual exterior trim, so that's just indoor trim that I put on the outside. And now I'm just building some custom doors for the different decks or patio areas. Now I'm carving out the lower floor here. I wanted a foyer, a really big living room, and then a kitchen and a dining room. Going upstairs, I'm trying to get in 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms in here. And I guess I wasn't really realizing the scale of a double bed, and I probably should have checked that first, before I even built the house. Like, I didn't even check for scale. I just made some boxes. So you can see that second bedroom is really tight if you're going to have a double bed. And it might be hard to see, but I changed the fence and now there's a hole in the front porch. And again, that was from a bug that I do believe is fixed now, because the final version of this house, the floor is fine. But then I changed it because I thought maybe I wanted a more modern fence. I'm still trying to figure out what vibes I'm going for here. Now I've decided on the color palette for the house, so I'm changing everything here to this like neutral color palette, but with like bold dark brown doors and windows. And the thing with the coloring, that this is all white. The trim, the columns, I've selected white for all of those, but they're coming in like gray tones, which is weird. It could just be like the type of object. Maybe that's just, it doesn't come in that color. I don't really know. Or maybe it's the shadowing. So yeah, I don't know what that's about, but it's supposed to be white. So anyway, I'm trying to make the windows more interesting, and then I realized, like, why would I have the the bathroom get the best view. That doesn't make any sense. So I reorganized the upstairs so that the bed was in front of the nice windows and then the bathroom is behind it, which leaves a nice nook for a home office, because I also forgot to add space for like a desk and a computer and all of that stuff. And so just going through and changing all the colors, I really do love the color wheel, and that we can add, custom swatches to things. That's like so fun. This is definitely a build mode where you can get super detailed, have almost exactly what you want. So that was really fun to like pick out the color palette. I did choose a simple color palette, so you're just going to see a lot of neutral tones, like shades of brown and tan and white, with pops of color here and there, only because I didn't want to overwhelm myself, because I realized that this is a big house to build for the first time, and I probably should have just done a single story, one bedroom, but I just wasn't I didn't really think about that. So I'm like just trying to not get overwhelmed with this, learning how the game works and also building a pretty big house for the first time. So I am still going through changing the wall paint. I keep going back and forth with that, trying to decide what I want there, and going through with the trim, changing the color for that, making sure that I'm getting the trim added everywhere, because I was missing it in a few places, so I had to go back and make sure that it was getting added in. And then you also have to be careful when you're using that trim. You can accidentally put it on the other side of the wall, which you may or may not want. In my case, I didn't, and so there was a few spots where I had to go back and delete that, which you probably won't see because I left a lot in here so that you can see like what things look like and how things work, and if something was being buggy, you could see how that was functioning, although that's kind of obsolete now because they fixed most of it. But that's why this one is a little bit longer, because I'm showing you how I'm figuring out how the game works. But overall, I really do like it. And how, just like I said before, how customizable everything is really amazing. And so I'm just going through here, trying out different floors. The sun definitely really reflects pretty hard in this game. It does help if you go to that little sun icon in the top and choose like a different time, because otherwise it's totally white, like washed out, and you can't see texture, you can't see like what is going on with certain objects. So it is good to change the time of day to something that's a little bit better. Like I kept changing it to 8 a.m. and that definitely helped a lot. There's also, I'm not sure if it's really a bug. You can see I'm struggling with the front porch there, so I'm not sure if it's a bug or not, but when you are inside the house, it looks like outdoor lighting. Like the ceiling lights have shadows and it's really sunny and bright. Like it's the same as outside. You can kind of see it here as I'm planning the upstairs, and you can see how sunny it is. So this is moving back downstairs, and I'm starting with the kitchen because I was really excited to see how customizable a kitchen can be. I love the way that the counters and cabinets seem to be really resizable, and they come in all different shapes and styles. So I was impatient to get to this part because I really wanted to see how it all worked. And so, of course, like I said, I'm doing all neutrals in this house just to keep it simple because I'm a little in over my head with this big house. So just kind of working through figuring this layout. And sometimes there's a few things that I like to do when I'm building a kitchen. I like to keep the sink and the dishwasher next to each other. And when possible, I like to put the sink in front of the window. I don't like the oven to be in front of the window because I like the vent to go above it and cabinetry and things like that. And I suppose it's maybe not the best flow because the fridge is all the way across from the oven. And I suppose in real life, you'd probably want the fridge closer because you'll be cooking and pulling from the fridge. I really like those window pane cabinets, and I like that you can match the handles. Like there's all different handles you can choose from. That's really great. I love the stretchy shelves. I use those a few times throughout this house. And yeah, it is a little bit different. Like if you want to have a dishwasher, it's different from the Sims where you can just drop it over the counter. But in here, you have to choose the piece that has a cutout. It doesn't have a cabinet, and that's what you put the dishwasher in. Here I am extremely undecided on the walls, and even when I finished the house, I was like, I want to change the walls again. Just because like I like the tiles that are here, but none of them really had the vibe I was going for. And I love the big floral wallpaper, especially with the checkerboard floor. And I was going to keep it all this wallpaper, but then I was like, yeah, but it's a kitchen and wouldn't it be more realistic if it was tiled? So I do go back and change that. The clutter is so fun. It's really good pieces and I love how customizable they are with the colors. I just can't get over that, honestly. I just really like finally getting to choose like exactly what color I want. So even though I know it's all neutrals, I guess it's not that challenging of a color palette, but I just really like that. I like all the little pieces. I like that we can build actual pantries. I just really enjoy that. So I'm just like testing out different things. It might not be very aesthetically pleasing up on these shelves, but I just wanted to see what everything looked like. So I was pulling out different things. And going through and adding details. And here's where I come back and because I'm thinking like, shouldn't it be tiled? It's a kitchen. And you'll notice that the appliances went through a few different colors. There was the original teal, which I almost kept. And then I tried black. And then I thought brown was better. So now moving into the dining room. And I wanted to keep the whole house having like a really natural texture to it, like natural wood and rattan and woven things, and there was some crochet items. So I just wanted it to be natural textiles and natural textures throughout the whole house. So starting here with this natural table and then trying to find a nice rug that complemented it, and this one worked out well, just needed the color adjustment. And so adding in the windows because I wanted this to be a really sunny, happy place with a lot of plants. This is a plant lover house. There are plants everywhere, which was really fun to do. I love that the furniture is just so resizable. Now, to an extent, like this particular piece, the green thing here, that has a limit and it's as wide as it's possible right there. Some things you can drag all the way across the whole room, and then some things there's like a limit to how long you can make them. And here I'm just testing out the different wallpapers, just kind of going through the catalog and seeing what's available because I'm not sure like what vibes I want in here. But I really like the linen textured wallpaper, and I use that probably in almost every room, probably most rooms. And again, here's another natural texture, and then do dark brown for contrast. And I was trying to do green, like a pop of color with the green chest, but it like wasn't sitting right with me. And so I was like, I'll just come back to that because there's just something off about it. So I just start adding different things, trying to build custom shelves, and seeing what's available with all the different textures and how these different textures show up depending on what color you're using. Sometimes you can see them more or see them less. And I do end up getting rid of these shelves, even though I spent quite a bit of time on them. and you'll see that in a little bit. But right now I'm clustering up the plants, trying to fit them in, trying to make sure that they're not cutting through the walls, and just sort of getting acclimated with the menu here, because I'm really not familiar with like all the plants that are available. So just going through and trying them out and trying out different color pots and trying to make something like sort of cohesive, but also as not perfectly matched, so they're different shades of beige or different shades of tan for all these different plants here. But I think the plants look great. They're probably one of my favorite parts of the game. Now I'm just trying to make the dining table, like give it some kind of a centerpiece. And so I'm just sort of going through the menu, trying to figure out what might work instead of like just putting like a plant in the center, which is something I usually do. Oh, then I found these shelves and I thought they were so much better and also would be a lot easier to fill up. Not necessarily that I would have to fill the floor to ceiling ones, but it started to look a little bit too much like a library. So I feel like these look like they might go in a dining room a little bit better. So cute little radio there. I thought that was so cute. And then there's some wall art, and now, oh yeah, there's the crochet thing. And now I'm starting to build the centerpiece that I end up sticking with. So I decided to do a cluster of candles at three candles in 3 different heights. And it still wasn't getting that like boho natural fibers feeling that I wanted. So then I mixed up the candles and then I turned them into like a bronze color to try to get that eclectic look going. And now I'm filling up these shelves and there's just like so many different things to pick from, but I'm trying to keep it like dining room oriented. So I'm trying to find like bottles of wine and bottles of champagne and different wine glasses to go with them. And if you are looking for a little bit of realism in your build, with the champagne bottles, like typically with champagne, you would do like a skinny flute, like the ones that I'm placing now, because you don't want to aerate it. I mean, I guess maybe you would, but it would be flat. So when you do a skinny wine glass or champagne glass, it traps the carbonation so that it doesn't get flat fast. But then with those wine glasses that I'm adding up now, they're a little bit wider and they allow for aeration. So that when you have a wine, depending on the wine, you might want it aerated, so you'd have a wider goblet. And then there's other wines that maybe you wouldn't want it to aerate as much, so then you would get like a slightly smaller wine glass. So that's only if you want to be hyper detailed. That's why the wine glasses are with the wine and the champagne flutes are with the champagne in my example here. And then I also really love that we have the salt and pepper grinder, and there's just a lot of cute ways that you can make one means the salt and one means the pepper. It's just a little detail, but I think that's what I just love so much about this build mode, is that you can be hyper detailed if you want to be. But also at the same time, if you're not into it, you can just plop things down, like the default swatches that are like the pre-made ones. They're all great. So you could really just go in here and just like throw stuff down and be done. But if you want to be really detailed and get exactly the colors you want, exactly the vibe that you want, this really allows it. So this is, in a way, it is a big house for a first time build, but it's not a big house from what I'm used to building in The Sims. So this would normally have taken me like, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours to do in The Sims. This took me, I don't even know if I want to say, because you can be so detailed, and that just scratches my brain to just be able to have such flexibility with building. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. But now moving on into this is the foyer area, and I'm trying to make a coat closet, and I was hoping that the closet would go all the way back, but it doesn't, so I had to push the closet back in, and now I'm just trying to figure out what shelving I can put above it. And then I remembered these shelves and I just put those because it was easier. And now just looking for like a table, a welcome table, or I don't know what you call it in your own home. Probably not a welcome table. But anyway, so I'm just trying to get things lined up here. Again, going for this natural textile look here, just keeping it all neutral for the sake of simplicity. I think in a future build I will try to do something that's a lot more colorful, but for right now I was just trying to get used to the camera, get used to the commands and the controls and everything and how stuff works, so I just wanted to keep it super simple. And then here I'm just adjusting this because I felt like the original swatch didn't have enough contrast between the sun and the moon, so I just wanted to adjust that a little bit. That's the only mailbox in the game. I mean, I don't really care like about the mailboxes, but there is just one for right now, if you're wondering. I can't wait for them to add more art. I love the art system here that you pick your frame and then you pick your art and then you can resize it in almost any different way. You can have different ratio aspects, just everything. It's really, I'm looking forward to getting more art so we can try that out a little bit more. Now I'm just figuring out the plants. Like I said, they're my favorite part of the decor in this game. So I'm just figuring out different ones, trying to use different ones, but they really do poke through the walls. So it's it's a little bit limiting, but I still really like them. More crochet and some candles and different art objects. Kind of just recycling the same vases because that's, I think this is still early access, so we don't have a lot of choices, but they are good ones at least. Love this little shelf. I think I used it at least twice in the house. I just love the texture to it and not really sure what to put in there, so just kind of put in a plant because the decor is a little bit limited, but that's okay. It's brand new. So now I'm just trying to load up the area with different plants and get it all organized in there. And moving into the living room, love the fireplaces and I love the detail that little chimney part can go all the way, like to whatever height you want. That's just such a great detail. Keeping it simple, reusing the same console again. And now working on the sofas. I think I cut this part out, but I really struggled with picking a sofa. I tried so many different ones and it was just, that was one part I cut out because it was just confusion. So now I'm just trying out the different end tables and I love that we can resize things and make them look stackable. It kind of like gives us more options that way. Love the curtains. The curtains are amazing. I like that you can flip them, that there's one panel or there's two panels, because a lot of times I'll build something in The Sims and then because of the curtain options, I just go without because the curtain is too long and it will clip into the sofa or whatever. But here you can just make it be one panel and just not have it clip into stuff. So that's really nice. I'm just kind of messing around here and I'm not really sure what I'm doing with that shelf and just trying to figure out the space because if you'll notice the staircase is gone. That was another, I think, bug because I just opened the game and the staircase was gone and there was a couple other things that were gone that I had to rebuild. I just didn't include it. Oh, the staircase comes back off camera. I never put it back during this speed build, but you'll see it at the end in the slideshow. And so again, just looking for decor. I just kind of lean on the plants. I do like the plants a little bit better than some of the cluttered decor that we have here. Some of it, I wouldn't say that I don't like it, but it's just the house is starting to get a certain vibe and a lot of the decor is not really going with it. Love the phases of the moon artwork. So that's adorable. So I put that in there. And more plants. So just going through and just adding more plants. I just really, I love that they're resizable. It would be cool if there was the option to make the plant larger or smaller, but leave the pot the same. So like you could either make the entire object bigger, or you could just make the plant part bigger or smaller. That would be a really great addition. Love this rug. Love that rug. And I went through a few different like color variations with it till I landed on something that I wanted for the room. So love the throw pillows. They come in all different textures, like that white one. I added a fur texture to the blanket. I think I added like a sweater texture to this blanket here. I love the knotted pillow. I thought that was a really cute detail to have in here, and I definitely get lost in the textures, just trying them over and over again, and trying to figure out which ones I like best. And I think right now I'm just adding finishing touches with the lighting, trying to figure out what to do with the record player, some of the art and some of the plants. And oh, that's what I was doing. Yeah, I wanted another window in here. That's why I moved the shelf, because I realized the whole side of that house didn't have a window. So I needed to add one in. Now I'm doing the roofing. The roofing is fine because I know it's just early access, so I'm not ready to just say like I don't like it. Well, I want to see what like an updated version is like. But what I don't like is that when you stretch the roof, the shingles stretch. I don't see what's doing that. I don't like that. So I hope that there's an update where the shingles just stay within their ratio and like not get all stretched out like that. And then the other thing, maybe I missed it or I didn't understand, but I would like more half roofs, so that way I don't have to make like the divots in the roof. I don't know how to explain it. It's like where like in real life rain puddles would form. I try to avoid those, but we don't have the right shaped roofs. Anyway, so I'm in this first bedroom here, and I decided to make it into a twin bed instead of a double, just because the room is too tiny, because I didn't test anything. I just started building. So the bedroom is small because I didn't understand like the sizing. Not that I didn't understand, I didn't even try. I just jumped in and built the thing, and now I'm squeezing furniture in. So now I'm like working with the curtains and, trying to like, I don't know why I'm so stuck on this, like just get the single panel and be done with it. I don't know why it took me this long to like get there. Cause like I didn't want it clipping into the bed. And so now I'm going in and changing the furniture, so that they kind of look more like a set. And I was trying to get some rattan is it rattan or rattan? Anyways, the woven texture that's on the dresser I wanted on the closet, but they didn't have it. Now I'm just testing out wallpapers, looking at all the different options, just learning the catalog and seeing what might work for this room. And I ended up going with stripes because I forget what I was planning, but I had something in mind to make this room somehow have multiple patterns, whether by the wallpaper, the bed, the floor, or I'm sorry, the rug. I wanted it to be mixed patterns, so that's why I chose the stripes, because I'm like starting to build my pattern mixing here. And at this point, I'm just going through the art. I don't know what's in here. I'm still learning it. I'm just going with stuff, but I love the sun and the moon, especially for a bedroom. That's adorable. And now I'm trying to figure out what I want for the bed, because again, I want to do some pattern mixing here with the bed and the wallpaper and eventually the rug. So just going through and looking at all the different textures, because I think I said this earlier, but how the texture shows up is dependent on the color that you choose. And so that is what is taking me so long, because like, I'm not sure if this is the color green I want. I'm not sure which pattern I want. I'm at this point, I'm trying to do an organic pattern because of the stripes. So sometimes it's nice to do an organic pattern like waves or flowers when you have stripes. But instead I went for dots. So I'm starting to build my pattern mixing here, which is stripes and dots. Pretty simple. The throw pillow, I love, 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 but it disappeared as soon as I put down the rug. So I think that's a bug. And then I couldn't find it. I couldn't find the pillow. I don't know where it went. Oh, and we can't layer rugs, which I imagine that would be something that they're gonna update. But at the time of the recording, and as far as I know right now, we still can't layer rugs. But it's fine. So, going through with the desk and just having it match the room, bringing in the same green that's in the duvet and in the lamp and on the chair. So, just trying to add to that. And so now you see the pattern mixing that I was talking about. So we have a striped wall, a polka dot polka dot duvet, and then a checkerboard rug. To me, they work. I don't know. Maybe you disagree. I think they work. And so I found this cube shelf, which I thought was adorable, and I'm just trying to fill it with stuff. And then I found this cork board, and I thought that would be adorable because then I could get the art, because the art's resizable, and maybe I can put little like things on the board. But see, I grabbed the Polaroid and it goes behind the bulletin board. It doesn't go in front of it. So I didn't have anything to put on the bulletin board, but I wanted to keep it anyway. So I just put some ribbons across it. And this might actually be a different day because now we have custom rugs, and I don't think we had custom rugs before. And I really liked that sort of knotted pattern that's in this rug. So I'm just trying to figure out like where can I put it, because I really want to use it. I like the color, I like the pattern, and eventually into the landing here, I decided to put it in there. And now I'm moving on to the other bedroom, which has the double bed, and just trying to get oriented here. I know I'm really spinning the camera a lot, but it's because I'm trying to get the windows situated, trying to copy the right ones. And then I see that box that's on the floor, and I realized I pulled one of the cabinets up too high. So you do have to watch for that. It's not going to block you from like going into the next floor. So here's what I mean about some of the furniture stretches all the way. So if you remember in the dining room, I had that little green chest and it could only go so far. But then there's other chests like this one that you can pull as far as you want. So I think that's really interesting. But I did end up just making it a normal size because then I realized that I needed a closet. So I picked a closet and added that in, and then made the dresser shorter. So now I'm going through, and I had added texture to the closet, added texture to the end tables, and now I'm figuring out what I want in the bed to be. But I kept it really simple and neutral. Of course, the whole house is neutral. I really like this rug, but it just didn't feel like a bedroom rug to me. That feels like a dining room rug. And then I decided I wanted to try this speckled rug, which is so cute, but I struggled with like what colors did I want. Like I wanted to bring in green to kind of go with the walls, and then eventually the plants that I wanted to put in here, but there's just something bothering me about the green that like it just wasn't working. So I went back and changed it to neutrals with pops of black. And the only other thing, like I don't know if it's like my computer settings or not, but the rug is like super pixelated. So I don't know if it's supposed to be or if that's an issue. So now I'm just trying to figure out how many plants I want to add in, but then I realized it's a bedroom and I forgot the mirror. So I had to put that in there, and then I went back to the plants, and I'm just sort of deciding like what fits in this room for this like neutral plant-filled house that I have going on here, and just sort of getting that organized. And now moving on to the wall decorations, trying to figure out what I would want there. And again, the options were limited because of the style of the house that I was doing, so I just went with, what was available. And the curtains that I just love, and I made them black. Black curtains in a bedroom is great for sleep. It's really good to block out the sunlight. And also, like, if you live somewhere where the street lights are coming in or cars are driving by, like, get yourself a black curtain. Okay, moving on. Back to the same old vases, which is not necessarily criticism. It's early release and I like them, so it's really not a problem. But I do recycle the same decor over and over. Love the slippers, love the hats. They're all resizable. You can change the size of the slippers, you can change the size of the clothes, the size of the hats. With the clothing pile, you can individually change the color of each piece of clothing. Like, it's incredible. And that's why this took me so many hours. I'm not going to tell you how many hours. And now I'm making a little office nook, and I left the wall open. Because I just felt like it, I don't know. I just didn't want to have to do another tiny room with a wall, quite frankly, because this camera was just swinging around. And I did eventually fix the settings like towards the very end of the build. But I just needed a break. So now I'm adding in some bookshelves in here and just trying to have the wood tone match the desk tone, because this area is a little bit more black and tan. I think it might be the only area in the house that's like heavily black and tan. So I'm just going through and adding objects. I love that little basket. I actually have that in my own house. So I really like that, and I love orchids. I have those in my house as well. Going through, oh, now I'm trying to figure out the wall. I really liked that it was like, I wanted a textured wall, but I think that's the only texture we have, and it was like too much. It was too big. Like, the texture was too big for being an indoor thing. So I think I just went with plain white. After all that, I just stick with plain white for the outside walls. And then at this point, there had been an update, because I don't think we had these art posters before, like earlier. And so I put those in the office. And now in the landing, I am trying to figure out another little area to put some storage and another little mirror and some decor. Yeah, really enjoying that. Now, after I was done and taking screenshots, I noticed that in those two little cabinets that I put down, there's shelves inside. And so I'm kind of wondering if I can put things inside the cabinet and then you can see it. Like, what a crazy detail, if that's possible. Like, that's amazing. So I do want to try that out the next time I do a build, is to see if some of these cabinets don't have, or do have the ability to like put things inside where those shelves are. That's like so interesting. So yeah, so now I'm finishing this up, just adding some lamps, some ceiling lights as I'm getting ready to go start the two bathrooms. I don't know about this lighting. I hope this is just early access lighting, because that is really bright. Or maybe there was a setting that I didn't see where you can like change the brightness. I don't know, but it's like highly concentrated spotlight lighting. So I hope that's not the final way that it's going to be. So working in the bathroom, this was really hard to get the camera in there. It was just swinging around. So I don't know what I'm doing with the camera. So yeah, we're just gonna have like an aerial view here. It seems that the washers and dryers are stackable. I did not play or test this at all, not one bit. So I don't know if things work. I don't know if I'm missing anything. That you need when you're in the live mode. No idea. So anyway, I just threw the laundry in this bathroom because I didn't even know that the game had laundry, and then I just wanted to add it because it was there. And now I'm just trying to fill that. There's like little shelves to fill in with all this clutter, and then there's the shelving in there, and fill that with clutter. So I was just going through and getting used to all the bathroom options. And I just love how detailed it is. I've already said it 100 times. I just love it. I love picking the color that I want. I love how stackable things are. Like, it's just really, really impressive. And it's just so satisfying to get just the color that you want. So I'm just continuing to try to fill this up and try to make it interesting and realistic at the same time. adding the towels in, the little loofahs, adding a shelf in the shower so that way there's a place to put all of the shower necessities in here. And so that looks like there's different bottles, different containers, different bars of soap, like all sorts of like little things you can add in. Now moving on to the wallpaper, because I felt like the tiles were a little bit too chunky. I don't know, I just wasn't feeling them. So you can pretend that this is like terrazzo, or is that what it's called? It's not wallpaper, it's like stone or something. We'll just say that's what it is. And so now I'm making a bath mat with the custom rug thing. And then I decided to just go with some neutral black and white. And then just adding in some wall art here. The little cats with the weird legs. I think that's so cute. And they match the wallpaper. And then, of course, a plant. And now I'm moving on to this bathroom. I think 2x2 is like a little bit too small. See, because what did I not do? I didn't scale anything. And so that is why this bathroom looks like this. And they don't have a regular shower stall because I didn't scale anything. So now I'm just going through and thinking like, oh, what if everything was matte black? And then I didn't like that idea. Because the other bathroom is like bronzy, and then this bathroom has matte black. Because I didn't exactly plan it, but I also felt like I was torn between the bronze and the matte black style. So I did both. Here is the upper patio, the deck, balcony. I don't know. So, anyway, I am decorating this area. I added the telescope in case there's some gameplay with that. That could be interesting. And then I realized that I didn't do any lounge chairs. And if we're going to have lounge chairs, then we should have them on this upper balcony area to get all the sunlight. So then I put the seating arrangement on the lower patio section and put the loungers up here. And now I'm just trying to like fit like all the plants back in and rearrange them in a way. And again, I didn't player test. I don't even know if they can get around those plants. I don't know if that egg chair is too close to the door. I don't know anything. So I'm just like putting stuff in, and now I'm like trying to rearrange some of the potted plants. Not really sure what I want. So just pulling things out to kind of give this area a little bit more greenery, and keeping this balcony super simple. I'm just putting 2 plants and calling it a day. I'm not putting anything in there. Now I'm changing out the door because I decided that I didn't like the front of the house having 2 different doors. Like, I think they look better when they're uniform. So I went through, and now all the doors are these custom ones that I did myself. So I think that helps with the exterior vibes. Now I'm moving on to the backyard. And I would say for the terrain tool, I would like to have a square option. The round option is not bad, and it kind of like clicks in place. So like, you know that you're making a straight line because you can kind of feel the click. And that's why my lines are reasonably straight here, is because I figured out how to click it into place and just drag it, and then it will just stay straight. I don't know if I'm explaining that well. So there you go. Under the pergola, I'm just adding some more furniture. This time I went with like the thicker wicker. Is that right? Thicker wicker sofa versus like the thinner woven one that's on the patio. The picnic table is adorable. The umbrella came separate, so you can like pick from the different umbrellas and pick exactly the one that you want, and then add it to a picnic table. Like, the umbrellas aren't like attached. So I thought that was such a fun detail, and I love a striped picnic umbrella. Now I'm going in with the landscaping, and this was hard. Just because so many choices. But I eventually got there. I got there eventually. Also, if you're wondering, I was so slow with this game because I was like learning and figuring out how everything works that this speed build is 800%. This is 8 times faster than I was going. For reference, like usually I do 300% or 400% when I'm doing a sim speed build, but I was going so slow here through the whole video. The whole video is 800%, so 8 times faster. So yeah, this was definitely a learning curve, but I didn't mind it. And then as for like building a really big garden, I don't know how to explain what I do. Like if you like the way I make gardens, maybe they're too crowded for you, but when I'm doing like a crowded garden, like I sort of have a rhyme or a reason for what I'm doing, but I'm also kind of going with the flow because I like start at one point and it's really high, and then I slope down with lower and lower plants, and then I slope back up. So if you start at the back where the tree is, it's really high, and then it will slope down in the middle, and then it starts to rise again, and it's another high point where those white floral bushes are. And that's kind of like the most reasoning that I do, is to just like think about the like it's kind of like a wavy up and down, but do it in like a way that's aesthetically pleasing. So you want high, medium, low. So you want tall plants, medium plants, and then low plants. But this one is like a little bit more of like a wildflower style. So it's not perfectly high, medium, low, but the idea of it is there. And so that's how I do these gardens. And that's how I do it in The Sims as well. This is just how I do it. So you can kind of see how I'm putting in all these like lower plants. Although I really am very undecided here, and I think I just keep going over and over. But yeah, so that's how I made the wildflower garden here, and adding some finishing touches to that as well. And then doing this sidebar over here just to keep it going, and to give like a nice trim, or like not a trim, a border. Give a nice border to the back fence here, which I really do love that fence. And then these things, I don't know if you could see how they're bouncing around like into the living room and out of the living room. I forgot to say that at the time of this video, those ivy climber things, they weren't sticking to the fence, and the only way that I could get them to stick to the fence is to first stick them to an interior wall. So stick it inside the living room and then stick it on the fence, and that's what I had to do to make that work. So now I'm adding yoga mats, just because, recycling bin by the grill, a trash can in the kitchen because I forgot to add one. And then there's these 3 and they seem to be specifically labeled like recycling, trash, and compost. So I put all 3. Maybe they do something. And now I'm at the last part here, which is doing the front landscaping. So this is the last thing that I work on here. And going through and just kind of mapping out where I want the paths to be. And I actually don't know if Paralives has a gallery yet where like these houses can be uploaded. I don't even know if anyone would want this, but I have to like see if a gallery thing even exists. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going through and mapping out where the soil will be. So wherever you see the brown, that's where I'm going to be putting the garden, like different gardens around the front here. And making it like a nice border, because this side of the house here that I'm working on, it just has one window, so I want to put a lot of greenery to kind of make up for the fact that there's only going to be one window, because there's the staircase on one side and there's the fireplace on the other side, so it didn't really leave a lot of room. Well, with that, this is pretty much the end of the video here. I'm just wrapping up with some of the greenery and getting these shrubs in, and just kind of adjusting the dirt because they were a lot wider than I thought. So just kind of adding them in, keeping it really simple and really green, just because I wanted to try different types of gardens throughout this property. So like the backyard has the wildflower thing. This has like green shrubs. And then the other side that I get into in a moment is like simple, like white flowers with green plants. Yeah, there we go. So just keeping it really simple with the white flowers coming around here and more hydrangeas. So the front of the house has the white roses, and then these are the white hydrangeas. And then these are orange roses that I custom colored. And now I'm adding, there's a different vine that's just like one string. So I was adding, not a string, one stem. I was adding that in there. And so going through and trying, really having a tough time deciding what is the other flower that I want to go in here. And I eventually land on these, I think they're possibly violets, but in any case, I changed them into white to sort of not have it be too much stuff going on. And then this is probably, yeah, this is all the greenery. So this is all just greenery with more white flowers. And that's the build. And thank you so much for joining me here and looking at my very first Paralives build. I hope you found it maybe informative as well if you haven't bought the game and you're thinking about it. Hopefully I was able to provide some insight. I really like it. I'm looking forward to doing the next one. So with that being said, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.